Okay, hello and welcome to a special edition Wildcard podcast with myself and Jason. Dan can't make it today. He's got a prior engagement, but me and Jason, or myself, actually decided that I think it's very important to take advantage of the fact that we're doing very, very well this season, especially Jason. And he's 772nd in the world at the moment. He's decided to wildcard like myself. And right now, as the game's updating, we will reveal live as we speak the wildcard team that Jason and I have chosen. So, Jason, please take it away. I'm excited.
Goalkeeper, I chose to go with Rui Patricio in goal. With the back three of Alonso, Mendy, and Cedric Suarez.
Oh, wow.
A power four midfield.
Here we go.
Of Hazard, David Silva, Pedro, and Salah.
Well, now there's a shock for myself and probably many of the viewers. Wow. Okay. And who's the front? I can probably guess who the front three are, but
Unchanged front three of Aguero, Wilson, and Mitrovic.
And who are your substitutions?
First on the bench is, I believe, I put Wan-Bissaka. I believe. Yeah, I think it was. Then it's Bennett. And then it's Højbjerg for Southampton, who does get the minutes, but it's a bargain at 4.4. Just a great enabler. And then Hammer as well as a substitute goalkeeper.
Wow. So this is really completely... So when we last did the podcast, which was just a few days ago, I did make it pretty clear in a jokey way that you and I had a similar team regarding the wildcard. Now they're completely different, which I'm kind of happy with. But I think the biggest talking point for me to start with isn't actually Salah. It's Cedric. And I want to know why you've decided to go with well, obviously it's 5 defenders, 3 of them being cheapest playing ones. But Cedric, yeah, what's the thinking behind that?
Well, first of all, if I'd had 4.5, I would have considered Diego Rico. But I had 4.4 left in my bank. And it was either Doherty or Cedric, and I thought, well, I've already got Bennett, so let's go with Cedric. Let's give him a go. He might only have one more assist in him for the rest of the season, but you never know. It could happen.
Have you
against Brighton at home?
Yeah, have you? Now, my thought process as we're doing this live is this because you've got in Salah and it's just taken up so much of your funds that you've had to go with a cheap route?
I mean,
you've got rid of Robertson.
Yeah, Robertson's gone. I can still see him doing really well, but there is going to be rotation in that Liverpool team. Somewhere down the line, there's going to be some rotation. And I think that I would have had to have got Salah back in because I just can't see Mane keeping up this run of form that he seems to be on at the moment. So I always had it in my mind that having a Mane situation with more premium players around him and more balanced team, even like having like the dilemma of a bench dilemma where you've got 5-6 million pound players sitting on the bench, which you've got to have to try and jiggle around each week. I do like the fact that I've got a midfielder that's 4.4 that I don't have to worry about thinking about playing. I can just put on my third sub or wherever. I've got Bennett, Wan-Bissaka, the cheapies that are going to be playing, hopefully all going to be playing throughout the season. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy. I've looked at the fixtures. I'm really happy with all the players I've got in the team. I've not have to go through the dilemma of getting back in Salah if he starts going on a crazy streak. I've got a Pedro to Richarlison enabler in the next couple of weeks, maybe game week 6, because I think they've got Arsenal game week. Oh no, game week 7, maybe get him in if he hasn't increased in value. But The only thing is the downside is I've got no spare money, but the upside is I'm happy with my team. Every single person in that 11, okay. I would say apart from Cedric, so I've got 10 players I'm over the moon about. Cedric, I mean, I can swallow that 4.4 pill.
I mean, I look at this, and another player that stands out for me is David Silva. Now, we already mentioned the fact that you had him the other day. I'm just assuming it's because of Manchester City's fixtures, De Bruyne's out, and Silva's going to be one of the key creators for them.
Absolutely. I mean, his chances and his general stats are up there with Hazard's. I mean, he's just come. Obviously, he's not got internationals to worry about. He's got De Bruyne. De Bruyne's not direct competition at the moment. He's probably out for another 4 to 6 weeks, I think. No. I think it was 10 to 12 weeks. I read another 10 to 12 weeks of no De Bruyne, and I just don't think that there's a direct replacement for David Silva at the moment in the Man City, team. He's just such a playmaker, and he gets in the right positions and he feeds some beautiful balls into Aguero. I can see him doing really well over the next 5 weeks.
I mean, they've got some excellent fixtures. I haven't got them to hand as it stands, but I know that obviously today they've got Fulham and next week they've got Cardiff. Two extremely good fixtures. So overall, you're really happy with your team. Now, I'm now going to take the opportunity to reveal my team, and I have been deliberating over what you alluded to, which was, do I have the benching headache? Or do I go with a starting 11 and just forget the other 3? And I have honestly been toing and froing, and looking at your team, and like I keep stating, you're doing excellently this season. And I'm now gone into panic mode, thinking I should have done what I kind of wanted to do in the first place, which is just have a fixed starting 11 and not worry about the bench. So, I'm going with the set and play goalkeeping combo of Hennessy as my starting goalkeeper, only because I feel that Crystal Palace have got better fixtures than Wolves. And I've been really looking at the statistics on the fantasy sites regarding everything. And despite the fact that Hennessy's point total is a bit wavered because of a penalty save, he's actually done better than Patrizio, and their fixtures are a lot better than Wolves. So I'm happy with a Hennessy, and as you've done, a Hammer link up. Now I'm going with the triple heavy hitting defence. However, it ain't Robertson. So the other 2 will be Mende and Alonso, and he was the player that I had to get in. I had to get in Alonso. The other player is Kieran Trippier. Their fixtures are absolutely phenomenal, other than today. He started, though, today. I've looked at the team sheets, and I was a bit panicky whether he would start or not. He has started today. Coming on the back of an excellent England debut from the World Cup, I can't see past Trippier as it stands for a heavy-hitting defender, because that's what I wanted. I wanted 3 solid players that I know that will get me some form of returns each game. Now, this is the benching headache, and this is what I didn't want to do, but I've gone with it. So as it stands, it's a 5-man midfield today.
Ooh, okay.
With, here we go, Hazard, Maddison, Mane, Lucas Moura, who starts today as well. And I've doubled up with Chelsea, so Pedro.
Okay.
My 3-man attack. Now, as we all know, I've been banging on about Lacazette. I've been beating the Lacazette drum for weeks, but I have really gone into panic mode about whether he will be guaranteed starts or not, despite the fact that when he has come on as a substitute, in the last 2 games, mind, so he did a substitute appearance, got an assist, started last week, got a goal and assist. Dan was telling us how well he did play for them, but it doesn't sit me with confidence him starting. I want guaranteed starters, so I've gone with the 3 top scoring strikers at the moment, which is Aguero, obviously, Mitrovic and Callum Wilson. And I've kind of looked at the fixtures, and it's almost like it's going to be a 2-way rotation for the next 2-3 game weeks between Wilson and Mitrovic. Mitrovic is on the bench today with Pedro. The thing is, Jason, is that I honestly went through everything and I'm thinking, who between Pedro and Lacazette is going to score more points? The only reason why I went Pedro is because he's a midfielder and it gets you those extra 1 point for a clean sheet and a goal. Plus, as we've seen with Pedro, he's basically scored every game barring one. Lacazette, as I've already alluded to, he's a worry regarding rotation. The only downside to what I've done is, as you said, it's the picking the right combination of players to play. And it is literally going to be between Mitrovic. Mitrovic, Pedro and Wilson, and which one of those 3 to drop.
Yeah, I had exactly the same dilemma.
I mean, were there any, if off the top of your head, were there any players that you stuck with throughout? And then, like, for example, with me, I stuck with Lacazette since straight away wildcarding, and I got rid of him kind of last minute. Any players in your squad which you had for a while and then got rid of?
What, since the beginning or since I started? Since I pressed the
wildcarding, yeah.
Lucas Moura. I really wanted a Spurs midfielder. Well, I wanted a Spurs attacker, I should say, and obviously he's just an absolute bargain. He's playing striker, and I know there's obviously risk of rotation, but for 7.2, I think at the time he was 7. I think he might be 7.3 now.
He's 7.3 now, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, I mean, he was, and still is, an absolute bargain. But I had to downgrade him in order to go in with my gut with Salah. I just think Salah's going to do something big today. I think he's going to do something really big. I think he might.
As you know, me and Dan do our weekend preview predictions, and at the moment, Dan's doing pretty badly regarding it all. And I actually look back at my predictions previewing the opening 6 fixtures for the big teams, so the top 6 from last year, and the relegated teams. And I looked through it yesterday. Scarily, I've done pretty well at predicting what's kind of happened. I'm a bit like, what's going on here? Like, I don't know how many fixtures it covered, but let's just take it as a round number of approximately 30 games. I pretty much got about 20 outcomes right.
Okay.
And I've said all along that I'm not worried about Salah. I honestly think that he's just going to plod along, getting the points that someone like Hazard will get, or Pedro, or even Mane. And with you saying, and I completely agree with what you're saying about there will be a time when he explodes, I just honestly think that there'll be other players covering his points.
I'm going to clip this. I'm going to play it at the beginning of the next podcast. If we get a hat trick this game week, I am literally going to be like,
the thing is,
winning from side to side.
I think if they were playing Southampton today, and we were doing this, look at our teams. Don't get me wrong. When it came to that Southampton game at 3:00, my heart would be going through my hoodie. I would not be able to sit down every time. As we said the other day, I'd be worried that every time Southampton concede, it would be a Salah goal. But it's just so far this season, he's done nothing which I think I need to keep him. I need to keep. It's a bit like.
But to be fair, it's been 4 game weeks, and he's doing better than last season. He missed that sitter against Leicester. And I think everyone's just sort of think that he's done. He's had his day. You know, he's no longer the essential midfielder. But I just think that he's going to prove. I don't know. I've got this feeling that he's going to prove. I could be completely wrong, and for, you're probably hoping I am, because if he does have a season like last season, then everyone's going to be panicking to get him back in again, spending points, taking 4-point hits.
I mean, I was looking over my notes actually, and I just asked you about players that you'd kept throughout and then maybe changed. I mean, another player that I was looking at was to save me from the substitute headache was Danny Ings instead of Mitrovic, and then I would have had a Lacazette, Aguero, and Ings combination instead. And I just. Do you think that wildcarding you've created a worse team? Because for me, I needed to get in for myself Alonso and Hazard. They're the two players, and Lucas Moura. They were the three players, which I felt I needed to get in. I just didn't want to take that 8 to 12 point hit because I'm doing so well this year. How about yourself? Were there any players?
Well, I took out Pereira. I've taken out Mane. I've taken out Walcott, and I've essentially brought in Hazard, Pedro, and who's the other one? Mine's blank.
David Silva.
David Silva, yeah, David Silva. For those, and I just think I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with my team the way it's looking now. Last season I wildcarded and I completely screwed up. I ended up getting, if I'd have stuck on the same team, I would have had more points. So I think last season, I think I wildcarded without really having any sort of research to back it up. Whereas I've put in some time and effort, and the likes of David Silva, he's below the radar at the moment. I'm surprised not more people are bringing him in, but I know for 8.5 million, he's a City midfielder as well. It's a no-brainer for me. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, come later on today, I could be pie in my face moment.
Yeah, a lot of the fixtures are actually a lot of our players are actually playing today, and we will pretty much find out how we're going to do by the end of this evening, rather than having to wait till Monday evening to do this. So both in conclusion, then both you and I have pretty much, give or take, gone with a set 11. Yeah. Certainly, when it comes to the goalkeepers and not worrying about our substitutes in defence, barring myself, which has gone with the old trio there. Overall, you're pretty confident with your wildcard team? You're happy with it?
Yeah, I am. If I had to do it again, I'd do the same thing. Yeah, definitely.
Now I'm going to turn that question on me, and I think personally now looking at what you've done, I think that what I wish I'd done now is gone with Aguero. What have I got here? Yeah, I wish I'd gone with Lacazette, Aguero, and Ings, and not given myself such a headache regarding rotation of the 2-3 attacking players. Other than that, I'm relatively happy myself. So, yeah.
Have you got yourself a plan, just in case you do want to bring
Well, I'm certainly looking at... So, Richarlison's actually gone down in price. He's down to 6.6.
Yeah.
I can't see many people bringing him back in for the Arsenal game, which is next week. Mm-hmm. So he may actually drop. He'll either stay or may drop down by 0.1 again. So actually, I'm actually going to gain money on him, and it's a case of, do I bring him in for Pedro? My overall plan is actually more to see how Lacazette gets on in the next two fixtures, because my problem that I have is that you're lucky. You've got, let's be honest here, 3 captain options, but only 2 of them you're going to be using, which is Aguero and Salah, the other being Hazard. My issue is that I've only got 1 captain choice, which is Aguero. However, I'm confident the next 3 fixtures, I'm very, very confident I'd be captaining him anyway. If I had Salah, I'd captain him against Southampton. But if I had Lacazette, I would actually captain him ahead of, depending on how well he does, because you're quite confident that he may do something today. That's my only issue, is that...
You haven't asked me who I captained yet.
Okay, well, Who have you captain today?
No, I'm joking. It's Aguero.
Right, okay. My main issue that I created, which I'm not happy with after looking at your team, is quite simply the fact that I've created a benching headache. And I don't, like you said, I don't like having expensive players on the bench, especially when they're doing really, really well, knowing that if I didn't have that benching headache, they would just be playing anyway. Whereas you have got a set 11 and two very good 4 million defenders that we know that are going to start.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we? You've gone for a different approach, which is good, because if it works out, you're going to be climbing the table. Having a few differentials is only a good thing in your position. If we were to have very similar teams, then it falls on captain choice, and then you don't want to rely on that. So yeah, I think for the push up the table, you put yourself in a good position, and you have to wait and see.
That's the thing. I feel that it's very early on in the season. I'm still willing to wait on players like Lacazette, Aubameyang, to see how well they perform over the next 2 or 3 without having to worry that my ranking is going to be affected. I mean, I was even looking at the couple of players in between us that are in second. I'm forgetting their names, sorry, but that are second and fourth and fifth. And I just looked at their teams, and they don't really have players which scare me. So I'm kind of quite confident. And because we're doing this now, we still won't have seen any of the teams that have wildcarded over this international break. So you were saying how Cy Bellamy is wildcarded. He's one of maybe a few others which are wildcarded, and I'll certainly look through when the game's updates in the second, and I will look through every team that's wildcarded.
Simon's got some interesting choice. I think he had Adama Traore. He's brought him in, and Gundogan.
Yeah, these are players which I just don't think they're just not worth bringing in. I just don't think.
Going with Kane as well.
Obviously, he's kept Kane. I think that Kane's a really good choice, but again, he's just one that I'm willing to wait and see how he does, because for that amount of money, you're going to be wanting to, a bit like Salah.
He sent me his team here. Because I'm sure you'd probably appreciate our thoughts on it. He's gone with the same back three as me.
Okay.
No, he hasn't. That's my team. One sec. No, he's gone with. He has actually gone with the same back three as me. He's got Cedric, Mendy, Alonso. He's got Traore, Gundogan, Walcott. I'm not sure on Walcott. Lucas Moura and Hazard. Kane and Aguero. So he's got some hard, tough to judge, really. He's got some really high quality players, and then he's got some sort of like.
But that's the thing; they're all high quality players, which just don't. They're not. We keep saying this; they're not performing for the price that they are.
He's got no Liverpool.
No, and that's the issue.
He's got.
I mean, I've always gone with the Steve Andrews view of just get 3 Liverpool attackers in, and they'll always get you. They'll always get you points no matter what. However, I've been looking at the fixtures coming up, and I'm happy to have 1 Liverpool. I mean, we're not going to go over the Salah thing again, but
No.
I would be tempted to have had Salah as well for the upcoming fixtures. I think they're fixture proof, as they say. But it's Chelsea and Man City. They're the 2 teams which I think need heavy coverage in. And I'm kind of more swayed with Chelsea because I think they've got more of a set 11, whereas Man City, they're more prone to rotation. So I'm happy to stick with the 2 key players for Man City, which are Mendy, and I'm not worried about Aguero rotation, personally. I think he's a stalemate there. Whereas the midfield dilemma, I mean, David Silva's a perfectly fine pick, but the rest of their players, for example, Sterling, I mean, Gundogan, I don't even think he's even a guaranteed starter.
I mean, I'm a little bit apprehensive with likes of Lukaku, Kane, Lacazette.
That's a very good point that you've just brought up. So I mentioned in the last chat that we had, I was seriously tempted by Lukaku. if it wasn't for Luke Shaw's injury,
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, I would have taken him ahead of Trippier because I would have saved myself 9.9 million, and then I would have been able to use that money to upgrade my strike force or my mid. It was more my strike force that I was worried. The midfield can kind of sit on as its own, but the strike force wise, I was very tempted to go with a Lukaku and Aguero front two. The problem is that I couldn't because Luke Shaw was injured, and I just didn't, have the information at hand whether or not he was. I mean, there's been so many conflicting reports whether he's starting or not. I mean, there was one from Fantasy Scout that he hasn't even travelled with the team today or last night. So that straight away, I was just like, yeah, I don't want to risk bringing him in. It wouldn't surprise me if he actually did come down and Mourinho's done his usual.
He was left at home, wasn't he? He didn't travel down with the rest of the team to London. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably sound logic. Sounds what I would have thought the same, to be honest with you. Luke Shaw being one of the key providers, and he is literally United's shining light, and it's just a sad thing that he's got injured. I think that pretty much concludes it, doesn't it? This
yeah. I think like I said, me and Jason we wanted to do this quick special podcast just to reveal what we've done, and we enjoy doing these podcasts. It just makes the group more interactive, and to see players like ourselves. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up our backsides, but it's just facts. Jason is 772nd in the world. I know I keep repeating that, but that is extremely.
Let's see where I am at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like I said, as Dan always says, enjoy your football. I'm sure everybody be like me, panicking over what points they're going to be getting through. But Jason, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. See you next time, guys.
Bye.